Joining me now, Dan Bongino, host of Unfiltered on Saturday nights at 10 p.m. on the Fox News channel. And my friend, Dan, thanks so much for being here. Misinformation.
Happy to do it, Pete.
COVID, this moment. I mean, this week has been incredibly revealing as we start to unravel the extent to which they're utilizing COVID and then also working in concert with private social media companies to take a look at what we're doing.
Yeah, Pete, listen, this is deadly serious, and I'm glad the tone of your monologue was right. We've crossed a red line here. The government, we have a Bill of Rights, right? It's a document of almost negativities. I don't mean that in a qualitative judgment way. I mean, the Bill of Rights says what the government can't do to you. They can't infringe on your right to self-protection, your Second Amendment rights, your right to assemble, your right to speech. They can't establish a religion, right? It says what the government can't do. So what the government can't do is infringe on your free speech, except in very limited circumstances. Pete, what they also can't do is if they want to crush your free speech because they don't like your opinion on the vaccine or your opinion on COVID lockdowns, is they can't deputize another one and say, go forth to love and serve and do what we can't do. They are acting then as a de facto government themselves. There is a litany of judicial precedent for this. I'm not a lawyer. I didn't stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. I'm not pretending to be, but I'm not an idiot either. I do my homework and I read. It is clearly obvious that Jen Psaki, and one more thing, that Jen Psaki is trying to deputize through Joe Biden and other people, trying to deputize people to do what they can't do. And they admitted to having a list. They admitted it. Dan, and then when Peter Doocy cornered her, she backed down.
That's the thing. They're not hiding it. They're saying it in the open. The White House is saying we're working with Facebook and other sites should ban. Facebook also put out a statement today saying, yes, we're working with the White House. We banned all of these people. So before it was, we're just conspiracy theorists wondering whether there's this hand-in-glove relationship. What assurances do we have at all? And I mentioned this in the monologue, that this doesn't turn into something, a part of the campaign. Candidates are saying misinformation. They can't be allowed to speak.
Oh, there's no assurances at all. I mean, believe me, if you're getting any sense of optimism from me, then I've screwed this interview up. I'm not. And here's the problem. Where are the Republicans in D.C.? Listen, guys, I'm sorry. Get off your asses. What are you doing? I know we have a couple that are doing so. I don't want to stigmatize the whole group. But what the hell are you doing? This is the single most important political issue of our time. Literally the ability to speak in the public square. What's the point of arguing tax rates if you can't argue because you've been banned from the new public square social media? If you're not running on this in the 2022 election and in 2024 as your number one issue, please exit stage left. You're not the appropriate candidate. You have no idea the scope of the problem. Can you imagine, by the way, if Republicans were, what bigger topic is misinformation out there by guns, right? Can you imagine if us saying we want leftists banned from the internet because they lie about guns and the Second Amendment all the time? The media would be in an uproar, right?
Absolutely.
You know it.
You know, another thing the media was in uproar about, Dan, was your information is being spread too much on Facebook. I don't know if you saw this story, but Proud Tangle, who's owned by Facebook, was effectively shut down from doing what they're doing by Facebook because executives were so embarrassed by the fact that if you look at that list on the right, that's from 2021 of April. That's Dan Bongino and Ben Shapiro only on the top 10 top performing links by U.S. Facebook pages in the last 24 hours. They're embarrassed by that, Dan. They're not a platform. They're saying we have to get rid of and minimize. This is already after we know shadow bannings and the algorithms are suppressing what you're talking about already. So you sort of answered the key question. Republicans, I can think of maybe one or two senators that are truly concerned about this. Otherwise, they're asleep at the wheel.
Yeah, I watched your show last night. I was actually going to text you during the break, but I didn't want to bother you. I watched you talking about my Facebook page. Let me give you a little scoop. I've only really discussed in my podcast, but not on the air because no one's asked me up till now other than you. There's a war going on for my Facebook page behind the scenes. They hit us every single day with an army of bot fact checkers who fact check every single comma and period we have. And here's the trick they use. If we say something, and let's say a few days later the information changes, but it was accurate the day we said it, this army of lead stories and Gannett fact checkers assault my page in an attempt to limit its reach. If you had any idea, I could spend an hour talking to you. I have to pay someone a substantial amount of money, almost full time, to battle against Facebook and the fact checkers. They're not checking facts, Pete. They're checking my opinions. And every time we call them out, we pretty much win. But I'm paying a guy a lot of money full time just to try and keep my show basically on the air on Facebook so people can see it.
How far behind the 8 ball are conservatives, freedom lovers, Republicans when it comes to 22 and 24? I know there's an expectation that 22 should be a midterm wave, but when you look at the weight of what they're willing to do, what they've already done, we touched on 2020 a little bit. How far behind are we?
You know, I think we are, because I don't think we have a message problem. I think we have a messaging problem, Pete. You know, I think we have to figure out as conservatives what exactly we're conserving. Listen, I was a big, and I still am, a free trader. I believe in liberty and all these things. But let's be honest, if we can't preserve free speech in the open public square, social media, then what the hell's the point of conservatism? The old 1970s talking points aren't working anymore.
Right.
If conservatism isn't about conserving freedom and the ability to speak freely in a free country, then seriously, don't run. You have no idea what you're talking about. The world has changed, and this party has to change too. We have to actually conserve stuff. That's the whole idea of conservatism and fighting for liberty and freedom.
Well, and you're doing your part by creating an ecosystem where freedom lovers can actually go if they're banned or pushed off elsewhere. You do what you say.
Man.
Yeah,
Talk
absolutely.
is cheap,
do something.
man.
You're exactly right. Dan Bongino, thank you so much, and congrats on the great show.
Thanks, Pete.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.